Good evening. I'm Councilwoman Linda Barnes Caldwell, and I would like to welcome you to the Boards and Commissions Committee hearing for July the 14th. We have present Councilman Gloria Slay, Councilman Dwight Williams, Councilman Cozy Weatherspoon, Councilwoman Ty Atkins, and Attorney Renzer Williams. Today on the agenda, we have CPO-30, this being the City of Gary Youth Council. And I would like to say we are not creating a youth council. We already have one. The last paperwork we had was a resolution, and we're simply forming this to become an ordinance. Where should we start?
Well,
I have some questions.
Yes, Councilwoman Atkins.
So just to confirm, Chairwoman, you said that there was already an establishment of a council. So I know when I looked at our municipal code, there was a youth commission that was stated under Article 10, and I believe it was Section 17. So is that the same thing in terms of what the existing, I guess, youth council, which you're mentioning?
This Attorney Jenkins isn't on the line. Okay. The last paper, Councilman, Attorney Williams.
Yes, no, it wasn't. This was establishing a youth council, which was separate and detached from that. It was done by resolution. I, however, do have a question now. Why are we doing this by ordinance and not simply updating the resolution with?
Well,
Attorney Williams.
As a resolution is just pretty much a statement. As an ordinance is actually a law. I was approached, and I had a few individuals that wanted to do it their way instead of the right way. So if it's done as an ordinance, should we not follow it as an ordinance?
Oh, absolutely. If you do it as an ordinance, then you have to follow it. It becomes the law of the city.
Okay.
So Councilwoman, I had asked that question just to confirm if it was different than the youth commission that I think is already established. I'm not sure if it's forming. And then if it is separate, I wanted to see if we had already had some definition around, I think it's Section 2 of the ordinance that currently states that there will be a Gary Youth Council Advisory Board. So do you have any information that should be in the ordinance relative to the construction of that board, who would be a part of it, their meetings, etc.? That's under Section 2.
Well, I don't. And that's why we're here today.
Yes,
with the resolution that we had previous, the youth council director was pretty much taking care of all that.
Okay.
However, they did come to us when they needed finances, and they came to our meetings sometimes. And pretty much that's all they were doing. I don't know anything else that they were doing.
Okay. So Attorney Williams could probably give me clarification or give us clarification, but I just would think that if we speak to this youth council advisories board, we should talk to like the makeup of that board as well, and the frequency in terms of their meeting in the ordinance as well.
Absolutely, we would have to.
Okay.
Now, the past resolution, and I apologize, I don't have it in front of me, but I thought it did spell out the breakdown of the appointees.
So,
it talked about who had appointees, and there was some discussion as to whether the clerk was going to have a appointee.
so there's, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say there's a Section 3, and I think this might be what you're speaking of, that talks about where the council in terms of the youth will come from. like there's members that represent each district, and then on top of that, like the mayor, the judge, as well as the clerk also have appointees. But the overarching, I guess, administrative leadership is from adults, right? And so that particular board is called the advisory board. And so we don't speak to, in this particular ordinance at this time, what is the makeup of the advisory board itself? Like, is it all council members, or is it the council, the mayor, as well as the clerk?
It was my understanding that it would mirror the resolution, but I don't want to speak for the chairperson.
Okay. So I was unclear on that part.
Let me see if I can help here. I'm not sure where this youth council, Gary Youth Council, is coming from. In 1998, we created, as a matter of fact, I sent pictures out. We created a group from the Gary Public School System. Not only were they a member of or worked for the council, they were pages. We created a page program, very sophisticated, way beyond what we're doing now. And they even got credit for graduation in government. We taught them government, at least I taught them government parliamentary procedures. So what's happening here is you seem to be mixing, to some extent, apples and oranges. If these people are going to relate to the council, then it bewilders me why the clerk would have any appointment. I don't see the clerk having any appointment. And I'm not sure the mayor should have an appointment. In other words, if these people, and I would assume they're youth, I would think we lay out some criteria. I don't like the idea under, under 3, they had to live in the district. We got them from the school system. We also ensured that people we got from the school system were in fact students that could afford to spend time working, with the council. In other words, they at least had to be, let's say, a C student in order to graduate. They couldn't have D's and F in order to get there. It wasn't so much that each council person picked one. I'm not sure why each council would pick one. We would just simply set up a procedure to pick all 9 and then give them, something to do. Again, I don't know why we wanted to set up something that involved the clerk and the mayor. Why wouldn't we just call them council pages? Since the mayor already has something. That's probably what's causing the confusion. And if you look at this, if we're starting over again, like Attorney Williams said, he don't have the resolution in front of him, but we need to appoint 9 people. If you look at what we're doing in paragraph, I believe it's, and I couldn't pull it off, so I'm looking at it in my phone. We're only appointing 4. I believe that's the way it is. 2 for the council. And, I'm sorry, it's 3.
No,
No, it's more.
It's 6. It's 6 plus.
No, I understand overall, but look at what you're doing in 3. You said there's 6 in 2, but you don't see how they arrive here. You just got 6. I'm saying, why wouldn't we appoint 9 people and let the council appoint the 9 people, period?
So I read it, I don't know, Chairwoman, as 11 people total, the 6 plus in addition to 5 additional members. So it says there'll be 6 for each, 1 from each district. Not saying, it doesn't say that we appoint them, but it just says 1 from each district. Plus, in addition to that, it'd be no more than 5 additional members. And the breakup of that is the mayor, the judge, the clerk, and then 2 to be selected from the council's board and commission committee. So that's a total of 11 people.
Yeah, but I'm suggesting you get rid of the judge. I'm going back to something, I don't know where this came from. If ours was, the one we did in 98 was, and we didn't have an ordinance or a resolution. Cherry, who's the president, I was vice president, I asked him, could I do this with the youth of the Gary Public School System? And we set up a board that we worked with. But again, we didn't have the judge appointing, we didn't have the clerk appointing, we didn't have the mayor appointing. We selected all of the students. I'm just saying, why do we need the mayor, the judge, and the clerk to do something if we're going to let's call them not Gary Youth Council, Let's call them council youth council or council youth pages or something like that. Let's make it just personal to us. That's all.
Well, let me just, Madam Chair, if I can weigh in a little bit here. At the previous youth council, I worked very closely with them.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Hello?
We can hear you, Ron.
Oh, okay. At the youth council, I worked very closely with them. Probably almost too close with them.
Yes.
Nothing going on around that time. But the way the makeup got to what we see now with the mayor having an appointee and the clerk and the judge having an appointee, it was basically, they was mirroring government. They was mirroring what we operate as, and it was called the Gary Youth Councils, Common Council. It was basically mirroring the Common Council as a whole. They were set up with a clerk, they were set up with a president, a vice president, they even had a secretary there, which operated as the clerk. And they had pretty much the same roles that we had mirroring the city council there. Only thing I'm not familiar with is the last part there that was added here with the 2 positions being appointed by the council advisory board. I believe that's the 2 at the bottom here. No, I'm sorry. The 2 that's been selected by the boards and commission there.
Yeah.
All the positions was appointed through the boards and commission, whether it was the council district council person, or was it the clerk representative that she had. Everything was sanctioned through the boards and commission, which was brought before this body for a vote. How we got into with the districts there, we want to weigh in from everyone because we want the youth members to work with the district council person to see how government actually works and to form a relationship with the youth.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear it on my phone.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you technically are not in the meeting. Like you had it already open.
We can hear you guys.
Right.
Michael,
Hold on. You shouldn't be able.
Councilman Brewer, I have a question about what you just said. So you said that, you know, it was to mirror the current government structure. And then you also said that kind of have like the council person has a mentorship with the particular student that's appointed.
Yes.
So what is the commitment that you all are that we will be looking for the council people to do as it relates to this, the youth council?
Basically the mentorship. That was the ultimate goal, to mentor the young people and to give them a outlook at how government really operates.
Okay.
Okay, let me interrupt again. Inside of the council files, we taught them government. We didn't have people sort of wandering around. They were taught government. They were on Channel 4. We explained to them. No one, it doesn't appear to me, no one has ever looked at that. It was left there intentionally. I even sent out where they had sweaters. We took them downstate. They were pages that worked directly for the council. We didn't wander over into the mayor's office. You remember after that, Ron, we came up with you remember the young man that we spent all that money? Yeah, that's King. It was much later. That again, as we saw that didn't do the program, we did this one individual. What I'm suggesting is, no matter what has been done in the past, why wouldn't we create something for the council, period? Just create it for the council now. If we're going to teach them, instruct them in government somehow, why not teach them parliamentary procedure? Why not do things of that nature? Why not have them come and operate as a page the same as they would do downstate? I'm of the opinion they should all be students in our public school system, or in a public school system if we wanted to go to other school systems. And we would do all 9. I mean, we're creating an ordinance. Let's now do all 9 and call them. I had asked our legislative aide, Janice White, to try and find the documents. The last time I heard anybody talk about it was Ms. Caesar talked about it, but I know it's there. It was left there to be used. Again, why do we need to mirror the clerk's office? In other words, what does the clerk do with the youth? And I'm saying we teach them the clerk's office. We teach them the judge. We explain to them there's only two branches of government, legislative and executive. Like I say, they received actual credit for graduation in the program we had. And it's there in the files. I mean, it's in where you actually, now the problem is it takes a tremendous amount of time to teach this. You have to know it, but we did it on Channel 4. They met with us on occasion. I believe Ms. Ledbetter was the president of the group. So I'm saying, why don't we just start from scratch? And when I talked to Councilwoman Barnes, that's what we talk about. Let's just start from scratch, create something that would be beneficial to the council. However, we're going to appoint these 9, let's do that. Let's not worry about the mayor, the clerk, and the judge. Let's do this. Let's be selfish here and just do it for the council.
Well, I understand what you're saying, Mr. Lay, but that was the preference of the young people that came to us. This was something that they put together, and I helped them get the, I believe it was an ordinance at the last time we passed it last time. But they worked to craft the ordinance and everything, and you know, of course, we sent it through the law department and everything. But this was something that the young people brought at that time there. And we did do the Channel 4 and gave them different committees and let them do study sessions also too. And they also made recommendations to the city council.
Well, who's going to teach them? Just tell me, if you tell me who's going to teach them, government. In other words, we can't have, I think it's not efficient to have 9 people who may look at government totally different, or whatever the number is. I mean, I don't know what the number is now. Who's going to do this? Who's going to have the overall responsibility to do this? If you're saying each council person has responsibility to do it, I think that's going to be a hodgepodge. We need to set up something so that they are, in fact, this is done, this is carried out. As an example, Sherry, without ordinance and stuff, he gave us, he gave me $3,000 to do it. And like I say, I think when I take a look at it, was much more sophisticated. It was structured, very structured, enough that they could get credit at the state level for completing the program. So they got something. They came to meetings. They were identified with sweaters. Did anyone see what I sent out? Had Ms. White to send out? It showed, it was a picture of several things, but it showed them. It was somewhat mirrored after the PAGE program at the state level. I got the idea because my daughter served as a PAGE at the state.
To my Zoom later.
Councilman Lay, I don't think we received any of that documentation. I know I didn't.
I received it.
It was supposed to be, well, that's a mistake. It was supposed to be sent to all council people and to inform them there's something in the file. It's there. It's a whole complete program. I mean, if people are willing to teach the group, see, we weren't concerned what district they came from. We used the entire school district. That's all. And we devoted money to it and time and effort, not 9 people or 12 people trying to train 11 people. Maybe that'll work, but I'm not sure it will. And we identified them differently. I looked at their requirements to appear in certain places and do certain things. We kept control of them. And that's all I'm suggesting. Let's just be selfish here. And although Councilman Brewer says they came with the program, they seem to be gone now. I don't know who they is. They're not here. We're going to have to, I would assume, get all new people. Unless I'm wrong about something, somewhere there's some people waiting to do this. And what have they been doing for the last 6 months? Has anything been done with these people for the last 6 months? Anyone, Councilwoman Barnes, has anything been done with these people?
The expiration date for the last, the expiration date for the last ones that were approved expired May 1st. And the
What
youth
year? What year?
director,
What year?
2020.
2020.
So we
Okay,
had
so that means we
ones
got to
that
get all.
came in 18.
Yeah, that means we
Yes.
got to get all new people. Then there is nobody that
Right.
developed the program. We now should be developing the program. In other words, they don't know enough to develop the program. The elected officials, the council, should develop the program for them. If we're going to teach them, all council people should be telling them and teaching them the same. I mean, we should, for instance, one of the things I thought we should have done, we should have had, I'm trying to think of the word. We should have had orientation ourselves as a council. Of course, I don't think we did. Maybe what was done, maybe that was considered orientation. So I'm saying we would all have to be on the same page, which we're teaching these people that are assigned to us. We can't have each person doing something different. So somebody's got to set up what we're teaching them about government.
Oh, Madam Chair, I'm not sure she's on here, but I think you should be teaching, Councilman Lay. I mean, you teach us.
You think a lot of things I don't agree with, Acting President Gowan. So no, it's very time consuming. We did it.
You're at large, but I think you have a lot of knowledge about municipal government.
Yeah, but that's how it was decided before, but that was 22 years ago.
Right.
We did this in 98. And the choice was to show you how ironic it was either do the banquet for the council that I attempted to do this time, and they didn't want to do it, or the pages, and we decided to do the page program. Once we find it in the file, I mean, everybody could be doing the same thing. I would just select. See, I'm not even sure we're talking about the children in the school system, or are we talking about people that have graduated? I mean, I'm not sure what we're talking about.
We're talking about juniors and seniors.
We can't hear you, Councilwoman. Your phone is breaking up real bad where your live is.
Oh, really?
Nope.
Oh, we're talking about juniors and seniors. And Councilman Brewer, you said that the children, well, that's what it was, a resolution. No?
So Chairwoman, in this ordinance, it says 15 to 18 years of age for 2 years.
Yes.
So if you're 18 as a senior, and you know,
that, yeah.
Yeah. To Mr. Lay's point, I was a part of the Inner City Student Council. I'm not sure if any of the current council members were aware of that particular program. In my heyday, we won't say what year that was, but you know. And one of the things that we did have, I think, is the structure portion of it, where there was a mentor. Some of us had mentors. You were part of the Inner City Student Council if you were part of the student council. At that time, there was multiple high schools. And then we had a dedicated mentor either from the council or the school board. And so my mentor at that time was President Michael Scott, who was a school board president at that time. And so what he would do is he actually took me to to school board meetings. He also took me to council meetings at that time. He will give me an opportunity to, at that time, Councilwoman Rogers was in this seat. And so he, had me have a one-on-one with her when I was in high school, just to understand like the nature of what she did. So there was requirements in that regard. And then we met once a month. So at that time, we met at each different high school. And so they will actually come and get the various, people who were in it. If you went to another high school and the meeting was at work, we would travel to that. So I think that type of structure at this point is missing. And maybe if we look at this document that Mr. Lay said should be existing within our office, it might have some of that related to the board and how we're going to govern with the students in terms of mentorship. And then the occurrence in terms of their meetings and all that good stuff. So I think that we probably should start with that initial document if we can find that, and then take best practices from that, and also take what, you know, Councilman Brewer is also saying in terms of what the current makeup was, and then make the new 2.0 version of this moving forward.
I agree with that. Let's go back and I'm sorry, may I speak, Councilwoman Barnes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Yes,
That's actually absolutely is where I was going. We have the document, so I don't think we have to start from scratch. Let's take a look at that document. That document, because we're starting from scratch. I mean, there is no students doing anything at this point, and I assume that they haven't done anything between January and May. If they have, they have not been in a meeting, or they've not been on Zoom or anything else. Why don't we take a look at that? And that simply will, it was laid out. I mean, it was put together by several people, and we went over it, and it's all there. And let's take a look at that, and just leave this ordinance in the committee, and we'll take a look at that, get that to everyone, get the pictures and everything about these individuals to everyone, and that'll be it.
We're going to get I'm sorry, we're going to get your paperwork from your previous.
It's in the file. I didn't keep it. I left it there. Right, I left it there. I left it there intentionally.
And you remember what year that was?
I'm sorry?
Do you remember what year that was?
Oh, it was 98.
98, okay.
Yes, 98, but it was structured enough that the state of Indiana would give us credit. I mean, basically, you know, I like structure. So it was there, and they gave us credit. It's there. And the last person I ever heard mention it was Caesar, but I can't, Rachel Caesar, Miss Rachel Caesar. So it's there. And if nothing else, we can pull it out. If we don't want to do it, we toss it. But I think it'll make it much easier for us to look at something that's structured. And we didn't go to the mayor, and we didn't go to the clerk, and we didn't go to the judge. We made the decision as the council that we would do this. At first, it was quite narrow. The responsibility went from Cherry, who's president, to me. And basically, you know, there were pictures, there were trips, all of this. He just simply made the money. When they would come to council meeting, they came in a sweater with the city seal on it. I mean, it was very, oh yeah, it's very structured. They didn't just wander in there. They came and they had particular tasks to do. Basically, they were learning. They were being taught. Parliamentary, that's one of the reasons I became fairly good with parliamentary procedure. I was teaching them. And so I kept going over it and over it and over it with this particular group. So I think we should take Councilwoman Atkins' suggestion and simply pull that document and make it available to the council.
Okay.
And see how we want to use it, because we don't have any students right now. We don't have anything.
And Councilwoman, Chair Caldwell.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it was mentioned earlier when I got on talking about who was kind of like over this group here. It was basically a partnership with the council by me working, get it organized. I played a big role into it. But the Youth Service Bureau, basically, because they dealt with students all the time, they played a major role in working with the youth council there, where it was coordination with the Youth Service Bureau and the Gary Common Council with the youth council. So that was the coordination of it.
Yeah, but you delegating, see, that's what I said, that's the difference. We didn't delegate, we didn't need the youth council. We didn't need the mayor. We didn't need the clerk. We didn't need the judge. We were selfish. We did it inside.
Well, I'm not trying to be selfish, so I'm just
No, we're starting over again. No, I tell you what, if you can get those children, if you can get those young people credit at high school level, I'm absolutely in favor of what you're doing. Absolutely. Get them.
Well, it wasn't even that about them getting credit. They just want the experience of government.
They are gone. They are
Well,
gone.
they're gone, Mr. Lay, but there's other young people.
No, let them come first. No, you keep wanting to go back. No.
Looking at the clerk and maybe want to be the clerk.
Okay, okay. This would require you to teach them something. Let's get the document. Let's get the document, and then you tell me if your program that you're if it's better, I'm gonna go along with it. No, seriously.
It's not about nobody program being better. I'm just.
We need to do the best one. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We need to do. If we're gonna bother the children, if we're gonna do this with children, then we should deliver the best we can. Why wouldn't we deliver the best we can?
We should deliver the best. Now that I do agree with you.
You said what?
Yeah. Yeah.
After that last part you said, I do agree.
Well, I tell you what, I assume what you're talking about is in writing. Is that correct somewhere? Is it wrote down what you're talking about?
It was done through the youth service bill, yeah.
No, I don't care where it was done. Is it in writing what they do?
No.
It's not in writing.
No. There was an act, it was an act of the youth group that we had at the time.
Yeah, but didn't they lay out how you do it though?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, get a copy of that.
But we had several different people running youth service bureau. I don't know if it's still there or not.
Who's
We've had
running
this
the
council since 1998. It's a document coming forward. Come on now, we're gonna give you a document. Government exists based on documents. Government it continues. It doesn't matter who's over the youth. They got files. It should be in a file there when you guys did it. And apparently you're talking about something relatively new. I mean, as far as I can get whatever you can get from youth services, okay. And we'll see if this document is in file. Then we'll take a look, and whichever's the better program, use it. That's all. That's all I'm suggesting. Whichever's the better program, let's use it.
I'm done.
Okay, Madam Chair, I have a quick observation and question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I know I got an email today from a young person. I believe I don't remember his full name, and I believe Councilwoman Atkins also got an email. And I don't know
did
whether
also.
Tyrone Robinson.
Tyrone Robinson. Okay.
Yes.
No, I got one from a female.
So is somebody coordinating this, or is this just? I mean, obviously they all sitting today, so I'm wondering: is there someone from the city or the school system who gave them our information or assigned certain ones to people?
Well, if you recall, I spoke with you earlier this year. The previous youth director, they were trying to form a youth council and call it the Mayor's Youth Council. So I'm going to say that those contacts that we received today are probably those children who they were grooming to put in those places, but they were not doing it the proper way. That was my first opinion when I received it. So, yeah.
Well, I received it also. What he failed to do, and I did follow up. I asked Ms. White to send him an email, giving him my telephone number and asking for his. We had no way of contacting him other than by email. His name was Tyrone Robinson. We followed up on it within 15 minutes after receiving it, where he's asking questions about how to become, he used the word counselor or something like that. But we followed up on it. Of course, it came to the end of the day. So yeah, I'm going to at least have a conversation with him. Part of because I came from the school board at one point. I was on that original elected school board. So we did all this. All I'm suggesting is we look at something in writing. That's really all I'm suggesting. That's all I'm suggesting. And Councilwoman Atkins brought it up. Let's get the documents, take a look at it, and it should be in the file of Youth Service Bureau what they did, and we make a new program. That's all. If we want to do the same thing, we do the same thing. But when Councilman Brewer should not be teaching them anything any different than Councilman Lay, talking about in the third person. We should be doing the same thing. So one student would have an advantage over another student, and they would learn just as much. I don't care which program is used personally. I really don't, because I have no intention to do what I did 22 years ago. I mean, I was a much younger person.
You're kidding.
Yeah, much younger, much younger.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, I guess-
so we're going to get the paperwork from Councilman Lay, and we're going to get the paperwork from Councilman Brewer. And then
Council-
we're going to, yes, sir?
Caldwell, you indicated something is the who's over you, Sergio? Let me just ask that question.
I don't know. I think I saw Ms. Coleman.
I thought Jonathan Bowles.
No,
Booth.
if I may intervene
Yeah,
right now,
Booth.
Jonathan Booth was let go as the Director of Youth Services. Oh, Now, yeah, that's right. they are entertaining bringing him back, but that's something that will not take place before sometime maybe in August at the earliest.
So
See, that's-
right now, they don't have anyone.
Right now, they do
I
not
saw
have
he didn't
anyone.
take the files with him. The files are there.
Well,
I would
told
question, Attorney Lay, I would question as to whether or not anyone over there knows where any files are. I really would.
I was informed that Eric Reeves was sitting in as the interim for that.
no. Okay.
That's unbelievable.
That's what I was informed.
He's over everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know it's a lot of hats. A lot of hats.
yes, a lot of hats.
Madam
just
Chair,
Yes, sir.
and also to Acting President Godwin, if I could please get a copy of the ordinances and resolutions. I was getting them, but I'm no longer getting them, so it's difficult for me to follow you guys.
So you want a copy of the resolution?
I want a copy of everything that we're discussing in committee meetings, therefore I could properly prepare and be able to ask questions. I'm not
Okay.
getting them.
Okay, all right.
I'll make sure that changes.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Can I ask
Uh,
a question?
yes.
In the past, were there permission slips from parents? I know you have to be very careful from an insurance and liability perspective on a lot of fronts. We definitely want to make sure that there's parental permission and, liability waivers.
You're absolutely right. We had all of that. We just need to document. That's
Gotcha.
all. Yeah, you had all of that. They had to sign off. You just couldn't go get their children
Right.
and move them in buses and stuff like that. They had to sign off on it. So,
Councilwoman Brown?
If I recall correctly, all of the parents came down to the council and we had an opportunity to meet with the parents. Councilman Brewer, don't you remember that?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, and they were all okay. So
Yeah.
I guess I don't understand where we're going now.
It's a good program.
one is structured, those parents are gone. All I'm asking us is to look
Oh,
at
okay.
documents. Why not look
Okay.
at, like we should look at statutes. I think we don't like that either. Look at a written document and then decide it's invalid and we don't want to do it, and and then someone write down what Councilman Brewer, maybe the whole thing is the parents come down. In order for parents to come down, you've had to select the students.
We did.
No, now, I'm talking about now you'd have to select the students. Tell me how you select the students right now, Mary.
Oh, I
I'm
don't
sorry,
know.
Councilwoman Brown. Tell me how you select them.
Mary would have been fine.
No,
I don't
no,
know.
no. Yeah, we've known each other long enough. Yeah, I know. Clorius is always fine with me. You notice I sign in as Clorius. How do you select the students? How do you select them?
Good question.
Councilman Brewer?
We can't bring parents in without selecting the students. We must do that first.
Okay.
I'm talking
I
about
agree.
how we select the students. I'm at the very beginning, how they're selected. Who are they? I believe it was Councilwoman Atkins said 18 plus 2 years is 20. That's a little old. And you should get out of Gary Public High School at 18. All you got to do is don't throw anything at your teacher. It's called social promotion.
Okay.
They'll get you out of there. So that's all. It's how you get these students. I think it'll lay out at least how we attempt to get the students. And in the course of doing that, we would have to work with the emergency manager and stuff like that, as well as principals of schools. one of the ways is the school system itself selected them. That part I do recall. They selected them, and we agreed or either disagreed. Normally we agreed with.
Well, right now we only have one public high school and we have a couple other charter schools throughout the community.
So let's work on
And
that too in terms of structure, you know, bring all of that to the table, right?
okay. Councilman Brewer,
Mm-hmm.
did you answer my question or did I ask it? You did work with them
You
before
break it real bad.
with the youth council. That you all keep telling me that. Can you hear me now? No.
I can hear you now, but it was breaking up when you was asking the question.
I said that you worked with the youth council. So what were some of the things that you all were doing? Because when I was looking, I only saw the two documents. One was the resolution and one was the ordinance when ready for them to go out of town. Those were the only two pieces of paperwork that I found. Yeah.
Well, like I said, the youth council was being coordinated through the Youth Service Bureau, and they met just like the city council. They would have their regular youth council meeting, and they will also have their committee meeting where they would meet. And it was, they utilized the chamber, they utilized the lounge for those meetings, and they was all televised. But it was definitely a partnership with the administration, with all government agencies, the judge, the clerk, the council itself. And basically they brought up things that was issues that they was having as youth. And if it was important to them to bring it to the city council, they brought it to the city council. That's how at one time we got with the sagging pants. That was a resolution that the youth council voted on, and they wanted the council to take that up at that time.
Okay. Okay, so since we're going to gather paperwork and information, we should come back on the 28th at 5 p.m. or table it until when?
Well, you want table, just we come back on the 28th, that's all.
Okay, so we'll come back on the 28th at 5 p.m. to discuss this further with all the paperwork and documentation.
Yes, as much as we can pull together.
Are we all in agreement?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, all right, well, we'll complete this meeting July the 28th, and Attorney Williams will make sure you get all the paperwork.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, well, this concludes the Boards and Commissions meeting for July the 14th. We'll see you again on the 28th. Thank you.
Lynn,
Thank you.
Madam
Yes.
Chair,
Yes,
I
sir.
have a quick question for you. With
Okay.
the boards of commission, the absence, are we looking for another individual? And if so, what are the hours that they would meet for the economic development position?
You said what hours?
Yeah, what's the hours for the meeting, the vacancy?
Far as I'm, from my understanding, the economic development, they haven't been meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but we do have that opening still available. The young lady, Miss Lewis, she moved out of town.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, so they haven't been meeting. When they do have their scheduled meetings, you know what time it is?
I don't. Please check with Miss Smith tomorrow, and she
Okay.
may be able to tell you or direct you to the person that's over the economic development.
Okay.
Okay.
Madam Chair, just one question also, in this particular case for that redevelopment, Do they do this the same way where they have a Republican representative and a certain number of Democratic representatives? And if so, which are you looking for, a Republican or a Democrat?
Economic development is neither Democrat nor Republican, so
Okay.
it
All
doesn't
right.
matter.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Any other questions?
Well, I guess that's good. Are we doing pretty well in terms of getting applications?
I'm not sure. The emails, I haven't received them personally, so I don't know if they come into the office or not.
Okay. Councilwoman Brown,
Yes.
I think you're not muted. Where you got a phone ringing?
You know what? I may not be anything.
Okay, we'll move on to our finance meeting.
All right, we'll talk. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right.